Hi you guys, this is Courtney from Willow's Bloom, and today we're going to be talking about the new moon in Cancer that's happening on July 9th at 18 degrees of Cancer. So really quick before I jump into the chart, the overall explanation, I did want to mention that I have a new membership called the North Node Society, and I basically have a whole astrology course that is worth hundreds of dollars just sitting there for you, easy access, just $20 a month. And it's so much more than just an astrology course. Not only can you dive into your chart and learn about where this moon is going to affect you personally and how that might look in your life, but you'll also have live group classes with people where I go over other topics around astrology. We also have a therapist. I say that in quotes because she's not a therapist, but there's some kind of like counseling service that we do. Again, I don't want to say counseling because I'm not like legally allowed to have therapy or counseling. It's something along those lines. It's kind of like coaching, like spiritual coaching, let's say. So we have a spiritual coach come on each month. We have breathwork classes, yoga. There's so many different things that are offered in this membership, and I really hope that you'd be interested in joining. So if so, there's a link below, and I'll see you guys there. Okay, so we're gonna go over the new moon for all of the zodiac signs, but first we're gonna start off with the overview. So, like I said, this moon is happening at 18 degrees of Cancer, which means that if you have a planet at around plus or minus 5 degrees, 18 degrees of Cancer, then you are going to be strongly affected by this. So, this is what I see time and time again with my friends. For the people that don't have this aspecting any of their personal planets, sometimes these moons come and go and they're just felt a little bit energetically, but nothing in their life happens. Other times when it hits a personal planet by some kind of aspect, square, opposition, sextile, trine, or conjunction, you are going to have something in your life alter, change, manifest, or dissolve away. And new moons are specifically about building something up. So if this is hitting your personal chart, which again, you can find out by joining the membership and taking the course. But yeah, if this is hitting your chart, you'll notice that some new beginnings are being planted. Some new seeds are being planted at this time. And it's going to be another 6 months for the next full moon in Cancer when you start to see some ripe fruit coming as a result of the actions and things that are happening in your life right now. If you've watched my videos before, then you know I love to use tarot and oracle cards along with the astrology messages because I just feel like they're so intertwined. So I'm definitely going to be using those today to kind of describe this moon. So what is a new moon in Cancer about? Well, what I think is it's a lot about new emotional beginnings. Cancer is about us allowing ourselves to feel, allowing ourselves to nurture and mother ourselves, especially because this new moon is making a square to Chiron, which is an asteroid in the sky that has a lot to do with our healing process. And a square is a harsh angle that's indicating that this healing is coming off the back of a challenging situation. And because leading up to this point in time, Venus was opposing Pluto, a lot of those challenging situations are likely regarding our finances, our self-worth, or our relationships, our intimate partnerships with people. And so this healing that's happening is really going to be around some of those issues, and it's probably going to feel like a band-aid is being ripped off so that the skin underneath can finally get a fresh breath of air. And so that's kind of what I see this new moon as being. I don't think it's going to be the most comfortable new moon, but there are good solutions happening. And what I mean by that is that this new moon is also making a positive angle to Uranus. It's making a sextile to Uranus. Uranus is a planet of finding solutions. It is kind of like our way of thinking outside of the box, of rebelling to create something that doesn't exist that is going to solve our problems, to create change, to disrupt the status quo of what's been happening so we can finally feel some sense of relief or release or freedom. And so that's really what this new moon is about. How are we going to fully express how we feel? By finding some way to create a sense of change in our life to feel more free, to feel like can finally be ourselves. So if you've had some relationships or relationship dynamics that have been repetitive or toxic and kind of keeping you stuck in old cycles, the sextile to Uranus at this moon is asking you to make some changes to those relationships to finally feel like you have some breathing room so you can finally express your authentic self with somebody who can actually sit and listen and take it in and who is a valid person to have a relationship with. I'm going to get more into that for each of the individual signs, but this sextile to Uranus feels very positive. So while there is kind of a lot going on in the sky in general in terms of relationships, money, and self-confidence, this Uranus energy asking us to shake things up, make different decisions, completely disrupt something in our life that's been heading on a path that needs to alter. That is the answer. That is the medicine and the remedy within the astrology right now. This new moon is also making a trine to Neptune. So this trine to Neptune is going to make this healing process a little bit easier. It's going to give us basically more universal and spiritual support throughout this process. So if you're looking for divine timing or divine signals or the universe kind of speaking back to you, this is a moon where you're going to feel like you're finally getting some kind of response from the universe if that's something that you normally tuned into. It's also a really great time to express yourself through art and creativity and anything where you feel like you can process emotion in a really cathartic way. So Neptune is that perfect energy, not only for spiritual expression, but artistic expression. So kind of leaning into those areas are going to help uplift you at this time. There's a really wide orb happening with Pluto and a Pluto opposition. So it's a 7-degree orb. We're probably not going to be feeling it that much, but since the Venus opposition to Pluto happened somewhat recently, I did want to bring this in and say that I do see some residual intensity from recent experiences regarding relationships, regarding money, or regarding self-worth, kind of filtering into this current experience. So I do feel like some of the kind of like childhood shadows that come up around those areas of our life can still be at the forefront. While I don't see them being like necessarily new situations or new realizations, I feel like it's more of the residual of what was just happening. So I hope that makes sense. Okay, so that's pretty much what's going on for the moon itself. Now I'm going to talk about what's happening in the rest of the sky as far as astrology, and then I'll get into some cards that I pulled for this. So we are also experiencing Mercury in Gemini making a trine to Jupiter retrograde in Pisces. So Mercury in Gemini is in its home sign. It loves to be there. Jupiter in Pisces loves to be there. They're both really strong in their element. The only thing wrong here is that Jupiter is retrograde. So a lot of this growth and advancement that we're currently working on with Jupiter is going to be very internal. Those abundance and the blessings that we normally see when Jupiter is direct are going to be kind of on hold until Jupiter does go direct again. Not that you won't receive any abundance or blessings, but that they're kind of trickling out now and not full on pouring out, because a lot of what's happening right now is internal manifestations, internal changes, internal growth. And so that's what Jupiter retrograde does. So I feel like Mercury making a trine to Jupiter is us being more optimistic. It's us feeling like, okay, I can see long term now. I can see how much I've evolved. I can look back in the past and give myself credit for how I've changed, how I've healed, how I've grown. But then we have Mercury also making a square to Neptune. So it's like, even though we can kind of see into the future and we feel more optimistic about it and we can see how far we've come, we also have this element of ourselves where there's still a lack of clarity. We're still not exactly sure where we're going. It's like we have a general idea, we're feeling excited, but when we try to like get down into the details of what is my life right now? Who am I going to be with? What is my relationship with myself going to be? How is my money going to evolve? It's like those things are not fully within our grasp. So even though we can have that excitement and that long-term vision, that long-term vision is unclear, or we don't feel like it's tangible. We don't have all of the information yet. We haven't fully come out of this hazy chapter. Like, we haven't fully integrated these lessons. We're still in this process of absorbing it and trying to understand it. So things might not feel like they're totally clear. So if you have this kind of weird relationship with someone and you're trying to end it, or you're not sure where you guys stand, like that's the kind of energy. Like, okay, there's some relief. Like, you guys maybe made a decision. If this is about a relationship, maybe you made a decision to end or change the relationship or not pursue something or whatever. You had a conversation. But then with the Neptune influence, it's like, it's not really done yet. It's like, it's not solidified. It's not super clear where you stand with this person, but you have a general idea of where you guys are going and you feel like it's better than where it was before. But maybe it's like you're not healed yet, or there's some aspect of that still needs to be fully seen later on. So just kind of keep that in mind. Some of the big stuff that's happening is that we're going to have Mars and Venus aligning in the sky and making a conjunction. So Mars and Venus are very different energies. Venus is the planet of harmony and unity, and Mars is the planet of separation and of war. And so when we bring these two things in combination, it can be honestly this very intensified sexual experience. So we might have a lot more desire nature at this time. We might desire to be in relationship with people. We might want to have more sex with people. We might want to be around people in this really like strong, intense way than we normally do. Kind of like an almost animalistic drive to pursue relationships, or a drive to pursue financial abundance within ourselves, or financial abundance in general, or peace within ourselves. If we're working on a relationship with ourselves, it's like we have this fiery masculine flame kind of driving this desire for the feminine here, the uniting and the harmony. What this can also do is kind of lead to maybe some more struggles in relationships and fights and things like this, especially because Venus and Mars is opposing Saturn in the sky. So it's not like we have this desire and we're given free reign to go out and pursue what we want. At the end of the day, Saturn is there kind of blocking us and saying, okay, well, if you want to make progress with this, you first have to revisit all of this from the past. You have to address these weird habits that you have that you've been stuck in, or you have to overcome this problem first before you can have the green light to go ahead and like be with who you want or do what you want. It's like, it's hard. There's obstacles, there's delays, there's a sense of so much effort needing to be made, and it feels frustrated because our energy is being blocked. Like Mars is our energy. So we have this energy behind us to unite, to be with people, to have sex, to work on our money relationship, our relationship with ourselves. But it's like every time we try to take a step forward, there's like this roadblock that just doesn't allow us to keep on that path. So that can be a little bit frustrating at this time. But the good news is that Venus and Mars is making a square to Uranus. Again, squares are not the most positive, but just the fact that it's touching Uranus here is a good sign, especially because this moon is making a sextile to Uranus. What this means to me is that the solution to these things is creating some sense of freedom or change or disruption to your current cycle. And it's going to feel probably like a loss. It's probably going to feel negative. It's probably going to feel like something is either being taken from you or it's harder to process than it normally is because it's a square. So anytime there's a square to Uranus, it's like, it's not change that you're necessarily sitting down and really wanting to make that change. Maybe deep inside, you know that's the change that's best for you, but it's like on the outside, you also feel like you want to be with someone and maybe you don't want to have a breakup, or you want to spend that money and you don't want to sit there and budget all day. Like there's some aspect there that kind of feels like you're dragging your feet with this a little bit. But that square, if you do put that effort in to make those changes, to disrupt the status quo of where things have been going, that train that's headed down the track, if you disrupt that, it's going to truly manifest in a positive way for you and have a ripple effect onto the rest of your year. Venus and Mars is also making a trine to Chiron, so I do feel like it's through this change, through these decisions, and through facing these relationships with people or facing your relationship with yourself or with money, it's through that experience that you're going to have that deeper healing, that you're going to let go of some of those past patterns that you've been repeating since childhood. So that's really what came up with Venus opposed Pluto, was childhood patterns started to come up in relationships. We started to default to wanting to close down, to not open up. And now it's saying this is our chance to heal that by kind of creating a rift, by exploding what once was, by taking a detour, by creating this massive change. We can start to rewire and rewrite history so that it doesn't just repeat itself on this in this cyclical way. So it's true healing is allowed to happen when we're doing this. And lastly, we have Saturn making a square to Uranus. This has been ongoing throughout the entire year. It's going to keep on going. So I don't really want to talk too much about it, but it's basically saying that we're just making massive, massive changes in our lives, and they might feel like they're coming a little bit slower than we'd like and a little bit more frustrating than we would like because Saturn is involved. But just know that you're steadily making progress, and this year is really where we're starting to lay down those big changes in our lives and into our internal selves. And then next year, I think we're going to start to see more results from them. So I wanted to show some cards that I pulled. So First, I pulled this card, the ever unfolding rose, cracked open. It's happening for you, not to you. This is really important. I feel like a lot of times it can feel like these negative relationship situations or money situations or self-worth situations are happening to us. We feel like we are victim to some of these people. I mean, if it's a lot of it is imbalances in relationships, honestly. That was occurring in the weeks prior to this, that we can feel frustrated about, like, why am I always giving, or why am I not receiving? It doesn't have to just be relationships, but just any area of your life where you feel like, God, I'm giving so much and I'm just not getting back what I think I should be getting back. And I feel like what this is saying is this is a very prime situation to help illustrate what you deserve, and to stop falling into patterns or falling into relationships with people that don't give back what you put in. It's not happening to you, it's literally happening for you. You're encountering these challenging situations and people to help you realize your worth, so that from now on, you can really stand up for yourself, hold those boundaries, take your power back, and start to attract the things that only match your level of giving and your vibration. I also pulled a potential card, so I feel like this is kind of going on the back of that, saying that all of this is happening to build you up to your highest potential. If you didn't have these more challenging relationships and circumstances and everything was just easy going, it's like there's not enough friction to help you grow, which is Jupiter retrograde. Grow inside, grow within yourself to reach a deeper and higher potential. So this is kind of forming us into the people that we're meant to be. I also pulled these two cards together, which is the wisdom and focus card. And I really feel like this is us being called to really address where our energy is going with this focus card. You know, what are you focusing your time, thoughts, and energy on? Because the last moon that we had was a Capricorn full moon, which was asking us to grow something, which was asking us to put effort into something. And so I think that is continuing on here with this focus card. Don't give up. Keep up that endurance towards building whatever you're trying to go for, whether that's a business, a relationship, a move, whatever it is you're trying to bring into your life to create change. Keep your focus on the prize and not on what's being lost, but what's being gained by creating more freedom in your life, by releasing things that aren't in alignment with you. And the wisdom card, I feel like, is just telling you to view this perspective to view all this from a higher perspective. Really try to put on your thinking caps and have the perspective of your future self or a really wise elder. They're not going to get so caught up in the details of the emotional experience that's happening right now. They're not going to get stuck in the stories. They're going to think about where this is taking them, why this is necessary, why this happened. Really allowing yourself to reflect in a wise and self-compassionate way is going to be important. And I feel like this Five of Pentacles is really illustrating kind of what we're experiencing emotionally at this time. These people are left out in the cold. They feel like they're not getting their needs met. They aren't being satisfied in their relationships or in some area of their life. And they're just feeling a little bit emotionally frustrated. And I feel like that's how a lot of us are feeling right now with different areas of our life. We're feeling like this sense of disappointment or, like not being fully fulfilled. Like we can start to get some breadcrumbs and some things coming into our life, but the breadcrumbs aren't enough for these people. They feel like they're still frustrated with the situation that they're in. And I feel like that is where we kind of are, especially in relationships right now. And to me, the next card, the Hanged One, is really this Uranus energy about creating a massive shift. This can either be in our life or in our perspective. So there needs to be some kind of shift to who we are or to what we think or to what we do. We need to turn our life upside down and shake out all of the loose change from our pockets, because it's just dead weight that is not helping us. So for all of us, there's some elements of our life that's that loose change that's constantly like jingling in our pockets, reminding us that we need to do something about it, but we just don't want to take it out. We just don't want to get rid of it because it is money at the end of the day. but it's just weighing you down. It's unnecessary. So even if this relationship, this job, or this thing that you're enjoying feels good, or you want to hold on to it because you see some value in it, just know that it's chump change, and the universe is trying to shake that out of your pockets to give you, you know, hundreds and hundreds of dollars and not just quarters. But you have to first make room in your life and in your pockets to receive that money to be able to do that. And that's why I feel like I pulled this Four of Pentacles card. This is us not wanting to release that change. Literally the change, I meant like with the money in your pockets, but literally like releasing something. Like all of us are trying to hold on to something that we no longer need to hold on to. If it's a relationship with someone, a hookup, a connection, something in regards to finances. I mean, that's the very obvious one with Four of Pentacles. It's desiring to hold on to those finances so that you feel the sense of security when there is no sense of security. You create your sense of security. So holding on to this thing is only deterring the blessings that want to come in for you. And this new moon in Cancer is about releasing things, allowing yourself to create space and liberation in your life to bring in new things, and allowing yourself to feel and grieve what's happening. Because whenever you release something, there's some aspect of grief that also accompanies that. So if you're trying to hold on to it so you don't feel the grief, you're really just delaying your blessings, delaying the healing process, and you're not helping yourself. So let go of whatever that thing is. Allow yourself to move on, and then move into the phase 2 of your life, which is about planning ahead. And this is what I feel like Mercury making that trine to Jupiter is saying is it's a great time to plan ahead. It's a great time to look into the future. It's okay if you don't have full clarity with that square to Neptune. You don't need full clarity to get started. You don't need full clarity to start journaling, to get an idea of what you want. So if you did lose a relationship, if you did let that go, now get really clear on what you want to come in its place. Who does that person need to be to satisfy you? How do you need to be in the relationship to be fulfilled? Get super clear in that planning process to understand what it takes. And then the very last card we have is the Strength card, which I feel like is really just telling us that the sun will shine again, but in the meantime, it's going to take our inner resilience and our strength to endure this next couple of weeks, to move through these challenging situations, to try to endure this Five of Pentacles feeling, but just know that when we come out on the other side, things are going to be much better. So I think the Strength card is really about that, like seeing the light at the end of tunnel, knowing that things are going to improve, and just giving yourself the opportunity to believe that things will improve. So that is what I'm seeing for this new moon in Cancer. And now I'm going to go into all of the zodiac signs. If you are enjoying this so far, please like and subscribe. And if you comment down below, I just want to say thank you so much, because those comments, they mean the world to me, you guys. I read every single one and they touch my heart so deeply. And I just wanted to say thank you in advance if you are commenting. All right, so first up we have Aries Rising. So today I'm going to be walking you through what this moon will look like for you. And I'll be pulling some tarot cards to go along with the astrology. So for Aries Rising, this new moon in Cancer is happening in your 4th house of home and family. And it's making a trine to Neptune in your 12th house and a sextile to Uranus in your 2nd house. So yeah, this is interesting. Having a moon happen in your 4th house, a new moon, is giving you a new foundation in a very core area of your life. The 4th house is our foundation, both emotionally, financially, mentally, spiritually, because really it's the house that pours our childhood, like it's basically, yeah, it's like the cement of our childhood, the foundation of our life, and we kind of build on top of that as adults. Sometimes we have to remove some of the cement because it is not helping. But that's really what I see for you guys is I feel like a lot of this is going to be emotional processing. And I like this sextile to Uranus in the 2nd house. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I'm definitely getting some money situations coming up with the sextile to Uranus in the 2nd. Like you guys might have unexpected finances come in for you, or you might be developing a little bit more skills or self-confidence in your career or in an area of your life. And yeah, so that might feel more positive at this time. And then with the trine to Neptune in the 12th, I feel like it's saying that a lot of the emotional processing that you're meant to do right now is going to come on the back of being alone, on the back of resting. I think that's a really big theme for you guys in general. And as I said that, oh gosh, you guys, that's way too many cards. This is overwhelming. As I said that, I pulled the Independence card. So I do feel like there's something here around spending more time alone so that you can process some of what you are going through. Okay, I just pulled that for the collective, so I'm going to pull a different one. You are not alone. Ancient ancestors stand beside you. Yeah, that's the feeling that I'm getting. Like, you guys are being asked to spend time alone, but you're not alone. You know, you're spending time with your guides. You're spending time in nature. You're being rebuilt by those who love you, by your ancestors, by your family too, with this new moon in the 4th house. So you guys can have just general new beginnings in the area of your emotional well-being. You might find that you want to react to situations differently than you did. You might analyze some things from your childhood and try to not repeat those patterns, especially when it comes to relationships and things like that. And you might also just have new beginnings in the home sector. So you could move at this time, or you could have some new kind of relationships come up with your family, or new events come up with your family. Those are just kind of the basics of that. And I feel like it's going to somehow create some change in your finances or your self-esteem. Like there's some, or your skill set for your career. Like there's some change happening in that area of your life, and it can affect your emotional nature, or your changes in your home and family could then affect your skill development, your finances, and that type of thing. So one could ping the other. It depends on you as a person. So yes, I also pulled a communion card. I feel like, again, this is giving me the same energy of Neptune in the 12th, where you're meant to be taking some time alone with your guides, with the universe. So it's asking you to speak to the universe and not just to people around you. I feel like whenever we're like altering our emotional foundation or our family and things like that, our roots, it needs to be done from our essence and not filtered or impacted by people around us or opinions around us. So whatever changes you are desiring to make around your finances, around your skills, around your self-confidence, or around your possessions as well, like buying a home could be one of those things, or buying something new. So whatever change you want to make, I really feel like this needs to be done on an insular level, only asking yourself and your guides, or like having a prayer or journaling, and not asking people around you. I feel like your family can be a support system for decisions you've already made, but I'm really getting the feeling that you need to make this decision alone. I do think for a lot of you, it's going to be a financial decision, because to start this out, because of sextile to Uranus in the 2nd house, first of all, which means, again, change in finances or possessions. And then because your tarot card reading started out with the Queen of Pentacles and ends with the Ace of Pentacles. So these are both about money situations. So the Queen of Pentacles is you really sitting in your confidence around money, being very independent, making decisions for yourself around money. That's what I feel like is coming through. And then it ends here with this opportunity for more money, for more abundance with this Ace of Pentacles. It's saying that whatever decision you made is going to be very fruitful for you, and it's going to produce something long term. Because new moons, they take 6 months to complete their cycle. I don't think it's going to be right away, but I think you're going to start to get a sense of your manifesting power. Once you make that decision, you're going to start to see kind of things start to align. Maybe some finances start to come in, or just those kind of like pre-shifts happening that are indicating that there's something bigger coming in for you long term, whether that's in developing your skills or changing your finances. It's something that's really substantial for you in your life, something that it feels very tangible. So if it is skills, it's skills that are going to translate into having more money or having more time or some kind of change in your career. Like, I definitely feel like there's something very tangible taking place for you around this moon. Yes, so the Spider Woman card is really to really kind of emphasize that Queen of Pentacles, which is all about you having this strong manifestation power. With the sextile to Uranus, anything can happen. And the 2nd house, where Uranus lies for you is all about manifestation. So this means that any manifestation really can happen for you guys. And you guys, I pulled a Tower card and followed by the star. So I really feel like you're going to have some huge life altering kind of moments happening. It could be at this moon if it's hitting your chart hitting a personal planet in your chart. Otherwise, it could be more energetic than an event taking place. But anytime we see the Tower card, it's the old life falling away. And then I love that the Star card follows it directly, because this is about new hope emerging, her coming to the waters of life again to be refilled and reignited and feeling optimistic about what lies ahead. And then you have the Ace of Pentacles. So whatever decision you're making, I feel like is going to be somewhat disruptive of your life, because Uranus does that, right? Uranus creates change that is disrupting. And so that's, I think, the Tower moment. And you can create this change, or the world is going to create the change for you. That's kind of how astrology works. We can see it coming up. We can see the change that's going to happen, or you can decide to make the change on your own and make it easier on yourself. But regardless, the change that you decide to make needs to come from a place of being really in tune with your own emotional nature. And I think that's why this new moon is in Cancer in the 4th house. I feel like you guys are really meant to go within at this time and tap into how you feel to get a sense of what decision you need to make in order to change something in your finances and your skills and your manifestation, your possessions, that type of thing. Or self-confidence. Like there's some aspect of that area of your life that needs altered, that needs a change, but you have to check in with yourself. You have to really fully understand where you are on an emotional level before making that decision, because this Knight of Cups card appears before the Tower card. So it's like Knight of Cups oftentimes is talking about like an emotional offering, but given what's going on in astrology, I feel like this is all within you rather than within your friendships necessarily. But let's look at the other stuff in astrology to see for sure. Okay. You guys also have Mercury and Gemini in the 3rd house making a trine to Jupiter in the 12th. This again feels like giving yourself the time to rest your mind. Mercury in Gemini is very fast paced. You're going to be thinking a lot. You're going to be talking a lot, maybe chatting and meeting with people more than usual. It can feel very mentally active and communicatively active at this time. But the trine to Jupiter is saying, it's good to balance this out with some time alone. It's good to balance this out by doing that self-reflection, that meditation, and checking in with yourself emotionally. And so that's going to help create kind of like a cooling effect to the heating that can happen by having so much going on inside. Mercury is also making a square to Neptune in the 12th, so you might feel like you want to get everything figured out right now and like lined up right now, but you aren't really sure. Like you have an idea, but the idea isn't super solid, or you don't have all the steps, or you have to like wait on certain information. And so it might feel like a little bit frustrating that you're trying to make this decision or that you're trying to make this change, but you're not having full and total clarity. And that's why it's going to be, again, very important to tap into how you feel to make this decision instead of all of the facts. Because even though the trine to Jupiter will help you see that long-term vision and help you understand how this decision plays into the long-term vision of your life, you still won't have all the details really worked out. And so it's going to be important to have that emotional compass working for you. Okay, you guys also have Venus conjunct Mars in Leo in the 5th house. So this is interesting for all of us right now. I feel like Venus and Mars is kind of intense, just in general to have together. It can bring about more desires, a lot more desires. And I feel like for you guys, there can be a lot of desires to just kind of enjoy life right now, maybe overindulge a little bit with Venus and Mars in the 5th house. It's like this is your time where you're going to feel like you really want to be social, where you want to travel, where you want to start sleeping around or doing drugs or drinking or starting a creative hobby or a business, like something that feels really pleasurable to you. I see you guys having this intense desire to pursue something that feels really desirable, likely one of those things that I listed. If not, could be just anything that feels very passion creating. But there is an opposition with Saturn between these planets. So you might feel like even though you want to kind of pursue those elements of your life, you're being blocked. Like you have other duties with your friends, or you have these social responsibilities, or you have to show up and, I don't know, give like a group presentation or something. And so like you can't just go out and party and do what you want. So there is some element here of feeling like a little bit blocked from fully enjoying the energy of Venus and Mars together in Leo. And then Venus and Mars is also making a square to Uranus in the second house. So I feel like your change that you're desiring to make around your possessions or your finances, possibly your skills and self-confidence, that change is also going to be impacting your like it's also kind of getting in the way of you fully like relaxing and just doing what you want to do with your time. It's like, okay, if you want to buy a house, you can't just kind of dick around at this time. Like you need to actually sit and plan and be responsible, or you need to make some kind of like decision that's going to impact the amount of time that you have to dedicate to your passions, because there is some element here of change that requires your attention, that requires your energy. And so you can't just put it wherever it feels pleasurable. So that's really what I'm getting at this time. So it's going to be very important for you to spend time alone to process and sit with your emotions, understand how you feel, make decisions to create some kind of sense of freedom or joy or expansion in the area of your self-confidence, your finances, your possessions, and your skill set for your career. So whatever change is happening there is ultimately going to fuel your future and give you some more financial abundance and opportunities coming into your lap. Just make sure that your desire for socialization, partying, following your pleasures, that type of thing doesn't get in the way of you creating this stable future off the back of this change. And again, make sure that this is your decision from your emotional place, from understanding how you feel and not being influenced by other people. So that's what I see for you guys, Aries Rising. If you like this, please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you're interested in learning more about astrology, then I highly suggest checking out the North Node Society, which has a full astrology course for just $20, which is so reasonable. You can check that out using the link in the description box below. I hope you have a great day. Bye.